and welcome back to the Rugby Connection podcast. Yes, we're still available on Casual Bias because it worked so well last week. Thank you to everyone that tuned in on the first episode on that channel. We're sticking with it on Casual Bias and Rugby Connection. There's no proud Irishman this week. Andy is very busy with his work away from podcasting, but the proud South African is back this week. Divan, how are you getting on, mate?
Good. It's a weird weekend. Like, we got the results, but not the performances. Like, it's weird that you feel you got away with the victory, but you are more mad than anything else. And we'll get into the games, but as always, honored to be here. Thank you for always enjoying the channel, people, liking and subscribing to the channel. We appreciate each and every one of you guys. Murray, take us away.
Well, we're going to start with the URC because that's where our heart lies most for us too. Friday Night Lights, both of us were on Friday Night Lights. Edinburgh 40, Zebra 14. And the only reason I'm wearing a Zebra top is because I'll never get to wear it this season, in all honesty. But big win for Edinburgh. But by God, we made that difficult. It had no right to be that difficult. But standout moment for me, Ben Vellicott coming off the bench. High level IQ try. Getting tackled. Nobody held him. Straight back to his feet. Darts through. Beautiful. Love it. I'm happy. We're in the playoff contention now.
Yeah. I mean, that we spoke about that last week, right? You know exactly what you need to do. Get as much points from every single game, even if it's dirty, right? Get your 4 tries, win the game. That is the most important thing. And that's why you jumped from, I think it was 9th into 7th position. Obviously, literally 2 points behind 5th, right? If the Stormers drop points next weekend, you guys win, all of a sudden you kind of in the running for a home playoff game. I wouldn't get my hopes up too much.
I know.
Yeah, job done, right? It's the same almost with the Stormers game, because obviously you played the same time as the Stormers. Yeah. So it's tough for me to juggle the 2 games because I was watching obviously my team play more. Tough work at the start. I think it's kind of that, like, you expect to beat Zebra and you get a bit lackadaisical. And then you realize at halftime, oh shit, kind of need to pull our socks up here. And I think you guys kind of realized that just before halftime. I think you scored a try, gave yourself a bit of a gap, and then second half, bit more comfortable. But overall, the scoreboard still says 26 points. Was it a 26-point victory? Probably not, but job done. I mean, that's all you could have hoped for. And I still think the fact that you came out in the second half, played a lot better, more confident, gives you confidence and motivation going into your next game. Who is your next game even?
Friday again. We love a Friday Night Lights. Most teams
Monster.
But we'll get into that soon. But yeah, I remember texting you at halftime when I was at the Edinburgh game because I seen the Dragons score and Dragons were actually winning at halftime. So I was like, what is going on? I know you weren't happy, but like you said, you got the win. You dug them deep in the second half. He's almost just kind of took the piss in the last 10 minutes of that game. Just very beautiful tries for the neutral point of view. It was great to see.
I gotta give a shout out to Aaron Wainwright. What a player that guy is. Rio Dyer under the eyeball was absolute havoc for us. But we, as much as I want to give the Dragons, some words of encouragement or say, listen, give them some credit in terms of they played well. We were our own worst enemies. Like, you look at just an example to use. We were 5 meters away from the Dragons try line with a line out, right? Yep. Make a mistake at the line out with a skew throw. They win the ball, they kick it out, right? We lose that line out, or we win that line out, but forward pass immediately, like from the scrum off to the first carrier. Scrum, we lose the scrum, penalty. They kick it 10 meters out, they score. So we went from 5 meters away from our own goal line, 3 mistakes, conceded try on the other end, right? And that's kind of how the whole first half played out until Warwick Galantu had the worst 5 minutes that I've ever seen a player have, right? At one point, he didn't have a boot or sock on. Like, how does that even happen? Right? Until he pulled out some magic out of his arsehole and we scored a try. And that's kind of what the Stormers can do. And then from there on, he switched his game up a lot, or he turned it around and had an absolute belting game. He's really turned his form around from the start of the season till now. Like, it was shocking. Joseph Dweba, I don't even know what the guy's doing at the moment. I'm not even trying to disrespect him, but this guy
Sometimes
feels like
you
a
have
fraudulent rugby player at the moment. But same as for you guys, that last 20 to 15 minutes, the confidence that our boys showed, finally decided, listen, let's take our fingers out of our bum. We're going to run the ball instead of actually trying to beat them at a
Yeah.
kicking contest. Because that's what we tried to do. Finally destroyed them as soon as we started running the ball. Sasha, wow.
Oh,
Crazy good. 5 minutes on the field, scores 2 tries.
you know who I'm a
And
big fan
listen,
of in the Farmers, and I'd love to see him get more game time. Angela Davids. Oh, I love his work. The goose step to get that try. That was
yeah.
very.
The only issue is it's kind of like the same issue the Box have in terms of your loose forwards. There's so much depth there.
So
Like
many there. Yeah.
we've got Sasha and Willemse and Geland that plays fullback.
And
But
Tyrone
then
Green.
on the wings we have Hartzenberg, we have what's it? Oh my goodness, Zas. We have I'm Ben Loader, and
Yeah.
then Angelo Davids as well, and then Geland also slotting on the wing, which he did this weekend
Yeah.
when Sasha came onto the field. But I want to give a special shout out, and I know it's only the Dragons. Ivan
Yeah.
Roos is an absolute monster. This
Yeah.
guy is the best 8 on form, it looks like, in the world. Like, he's unstoppable. I'm not saying he's the best 8 in the
No,
world,
no, I know
but
what
the
you
way
meant.
he's playing, his maturity this season, like, he
Mm-hmm.
was called out by on my podcast by one of the co-hosts to say, listen, his discipline's been shit. Since then, he's stood off, I think, 2 penalties altogether. Discipline has been insane. He's a monster. He has to be in that box squad. Like, at the start, he was just like carrying, did no dirty work. Now he almost just does dirty work and the carrying. And
Mm-hmm.
it's ridiculous the form that he's on. Like, seriously.
Get it done, Rusty. Get it done. Speaking of
Yeah.
international calls, Ben Velcott, I spoke about him earlier. I feel sorry for Ben Velcott this year because going into the season, he was our starting 9. He got given co-captaincy alongside Grant Gilchrist, obviously Scotland international, former Scotland captain. And then Edinburgh signed Ali Price. So Ben gets dropped to the bench. But see, I want to say since the Six Nations, I've really noticed it since the Six Nations. Even when it's a bit tighter in the games, Ali Price is losing his pace. It happens to them all. That's just how age works. That's how sport works. The minute Ben Velcott comes on, it is like a shot of electricity through that team. He's not scared to go for the quick taps. He's not scared to let go of the ball and try and keep going after not being held in the tackle. He just brings the back line to life, whether it's by himself doing it or like setting up nice tries. And I need him back in that Scotland team. He's only got the one cap.
That's the thing with healthy competition. Like, some other people would go into a shell and just never eat form again. When you have a player like him that has the desire to pull over the Scotland jersey again, you will perform from the bench. Like, they do not care. They will fight for their starting position, whether it's for the franchise or for the Scottish team, for example. That is what good and healthy competition does. So you got to admire those players that are there, that literally doesn't matter where you put them, they will give it everything. So brilliant. I'm just glad both of our teams got our 5 points. We move on. It makes it a bit easier.
We're happy. It wasn't the prettiest, but we're happy. Saturday was stacked. Loftus, Bulls versus Glasgow Warriors. Bulls looked like they had Glasgow dead to rights. And the Warriors went, no, we are not leaving Loftus empty-handed. 2 massive points, a losing bonus point, and then obviously an attacking bonus point for coming in with scoring more than 4 tries. They were off to a flyer. Matt Ferguson just bullying his way over the try line, and then discipline kind of slipped in. Bulls at Loftus, it isn't easy. Started taking control. Caden Moody getting on the scoreboard was great to see. And then a big issue that a lot of Bulls fans have been saying this year, they seem to slip off 15 minutes to go, and Glasgow were just like, we are taking something from this game. We want to be sitting top of the table with 2 rounds, and they are. So yeah,
the easiest way to kind of explain it is like the Bulls forgot they're playing against the team at the top of the league.
Yeah.
That is how they completely forgot who they're playing against. They made it look easy for 60 minutes, and credit to the Bulls. Like, it was a scintillating performance, and they kind of played Glasgow off the park. But
Yeah.
don't forget who you're playing against. There is winning mentality in this Glasgow team. This is a fighting team. We always talk about the enjoyable rugby that they play. Like, watching Glasgow is something to behold. Like, they play very, very good rugby. And if you're not at the races, you will get punished. And that's exactly what did. And to be fair, if there was 5 more minutes in this game, Glasgow win this game. That's the way that Glasgow played. I'm saying this
Well,
now.
there
The
you
way
go.
that they played, the Bulls were in survival mode and they weren't surviving very well. The only way that they survived was because
Yeah,
of the time, because
there
no
you go.
team's going to score 30 points in 12 minutes. And they nearly did.
No,
That's
that's
that.
unreal.
Yeah. I had no words to describe it. I was watching that game. I had some money on the game because I do enjoy a bit of throwing my money in the bin. And I was looking at it and I was like, okay, bet secured. 10 minutes later, I'm like, holy shit, am I even going to win this one? Because I put a bag on it.
Oh God.
Ridiculous.
So the story is don't gamble, basically.
Yeah. Do I endorse gambling? Yes. Should you do it? No.
Yeah, fair enough. Staying in South Africa though. Oh my
Yeah.
God. They just will not die this season. Benetton, 25-24 over the Sharks. Two
Yeah.
penalties conceded the whole game. That is a ridiculous stat. That is
Yep.
unreal discipline. Hats off to the boys. Friends of the show, Sebastian Negri, Reno Smith. Unreal. But the man of the hour, coming up clutch, Jacob Umanga. Oh,
Yep. And don't
he
forget about Menoncello. He was insane.
can't forget Menoncello. Can never forget Menoncello. But Jacob Umanga, I would say, has been the signing of the season. Or one
Yeah.
of the signings of the season.
Yeah. Insane. And like, as much as I want to give credit also to Benetton, I also think the Sharks just threw it away. Like, seriously. There is a bit of a caveat. Obviously, they lost like 4 players inside 30 minutes. Like, that is a mess. And it's big players. Vincent Koch, Eben
Yeah.
Etzebeth, Lukani looked like he was playing with the injury the whole game. He does not look the same, which is tough. But I have to give credit to Benetton. Like, the grit they showed to get over the line there, absolutely insane. To go to Durban and win the game, not an easy task. It
No.
felt like Benetton knew they still have something to play for. They
Uh,
knew we can still get top 8, fight for playoffs. Probably not playoffs, but they knew they were still. This game meant more to them than the Sharks, and they kind of realized that and just switched to another gear, and that is what they did. So deserving victory as well. So
Scarlets at home to Ulster. Ulster getting a big win. And like we said it last week, Ulster have more to gain from getting that.
yeah,
They're sixth in the league, playoff contention. Just tore Scarlets apart, really. Stuart McCluskey just ran through the middle of the Scarlets and got a great try. Yeah,
did they
why
get the
not?
bonus point?
I believe so. I'll double check. Sure they did.
Like,
I could.
obviously they would have probably wanted to beat Scarlets by more, but in the end they got the job done, right?
They, they got the bonus point, yes.
Yes, so that's all that really matters.
But
Um, I didn't really watch the game, to be fair. Like, this game didn't jump out to me in terms of excitement, but they did the job. I mentioned it last week that they've got rugby heritage in terms of they know how to win in the big games. They've been to the playoffs, they've been to the semi-finals before.
yeah,
Um, so they knew a job had to be done. They did the job. Go home with your 5 points. Focus up for next weekend.
so not much more to add to that.
Yeah.
Big,
Who
big
they
card
even
as well.
playing? Ulster playing Leinster.
Ooh, we'll get into predictions in a little bit. We've got a few more games first, but Munster versus Connacht. The last few meetings have been nice and tight. Could go either way. This time, no. Munster absolutely blitz Connacht off the park. Although, shout out to actually two friends of the show because one on each side. Alex Nankivell from Munster, fantastic try. Did not realise he had that much pace. Fair play. Player of the match performance, well deserved. And on the losing side, Connacht, one of my best friends in rugby. I can't hammer that home enough, but Byron Ralston back from ankle ligament injury to score 2 tries. Fair play.
Yeah, I mean, we got told in the comment section, because it's a derby, don't write off Connacht, right?
Yeah.
And fair enough, because I also said that in our predictions. But Munster are so clinical. They are so mature in the way that they play. And I don't want to do self-promotion or anything, but on the other podcast, we asked the question, is Munster currently better than Leinster? And I don't think they're better than Leinster necessarily, but their rugby feels more mature. Like, it feels, if those two teams had to go up against each other, I would not be surprised at all if Munster get the victory, just with the way that they play. They will grind it out, they will keep it close, and they can sneak in a win easily. Same as what we saw last season while those two teams played. Munster, as I just said, so mature in the way that they played. Blitzed.
It feels like it means more to them, like week to week.
Yeah, they've kind of gotten into the swing of things where they realize, listen, we are actually defending champions, and people forget that they are the defending champions, and they've said, listen, we are not going to be struggling to defend our championship. We'll give it a best shot, get our own playoff games, and if we have to play away at the Viva or RDS at the end of the season, we'll go and try and get the upset victory there. But we're not playing quarterfinals and semifinals away from home. That's the mentality that
we're doing it. We're playing at Thomond Park. That's the mentality. Do it on home soil. Yeah.
Correct.
Lions beat the Cardiff just to get their playoff run. They're still in contention of a playoff. Could it happen? Who knows? But yeah, it's not easy in Joburg, is it?
No, not at all. Currently in 10th, but I mean, it's still so close. Like,
tight.
A lot of the big teams are playing each other. So you would expect, for example, Connacht to drop points, right? Which gives Lions the opportunity to jump ahead. And you just need a couple of upset victories. Obviously, you have the Stormers, who's also playing. Stormers are playing Connacht, sorry. That is it? I'm not even sure. We'll get into it in a second. But there's a lot of teams playing against each other where you know this team, one of the two is going to drop points and it's going to benefit the teams below them, like either one of the two. So that is absolutely massive.
Yeah, I agree. Final game for round 16. Blowout, absolute blowout. Leinster 61, Ospreys 14. Sorry, but
yeah,
it's just what Leinster do, isn't it? When they really want to, they will just run away with it. And I don't know how much to add. It gets.
Yeah, for a second you thought maybe Ospreys could put up a bit of a fight when they came back from 14-0 down, and they just got absolutely smashed.
No, it's a hope it kills you, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, before we move on to the different leagues that we cover here, might as well do predictions because it's round 17. It's still all to play for. It's freakishly tight. Friday Night Lights. Zebra hosting the Scarlets. Bit of a dead rubber mat. Doesn't really matter. The table, but more for pride. Scarlets. I imagine Scarlets will get a win.
I think I would like. I'm gonna go with my heart and not my head, and I'm gonna say Zebra takes some confidence from that Edinburgh first half. They're playing at home in Palma.
Yep.
Get a sneaky 5-point victory somehow.
Yeah, why not, lads? Friday Night Lights again. I'll be there louder than I've been all season. Prouder than I've been all season. Edinburgh versus Munster. I'm excited because who knows, Munster might be like, it's just Edinburgh. They might. I feel like they're not stupid enough. I don't feel like Graham Roundtree's stupid enough to come with a B team this far.
They're playing for playoffs, for home playoff games. They're not coming with a B team. It's the only tournament they left. So
we're getting full whack versus full whack. That's what you want. These are the games you want. I'm ready for it. Back your team as always, Divan. Edinburgh's going to get a win.
I don't blame you.
I don't care.
I don't blame you, but that's not my team. I'm not backing your team.
Yeah. I figured that was coming. Felt that
But I
coming.
think he'll put up a good fight. But
yeah,
I'm not getting you guys to take points from this game. I'm going Edinburgh, Munster to win by 12.
that hurts.
I don't mean it disrespectfully.
No,
I just
no,
think they are so good at the moment.
they are. You know what? I'm still saying we're going to win. I'll still go to the game with the hope we're going to win, but I wouldn't mind taking a 12-point defeat to Munster.
Yeah.
Especially
If you guys can come from this game with 2 points, massive for you. That's massive for you. That if you guys can get any points from this game, because you know Munster's going to be full strength,
Absolutely.
and obviously I'm not putting it past you guys to get an upset victory here, like at all. You're playing at home, you've got the crowd backing. But if you guys can somehow get yourselves a close game already, let's say the scoreline is like 28-24, and you know one try can win you the game and get you the bonus point. Oh, saucy. I would love that.
I'm just throwing out there. How would you react if we got a bonus point win over Munster?
Oh, I mean, as I just said, I wouldn't be too surprised just because I think you guys realize how much you still have to play for. You've got the big names. You've got guys that's been there, done it before.
But we need the big names to play their part now.
Yeah. No Zebre first half. You play Zebre first half, you're smashed.
We all said that. The group of people standing around me, at the Zebre game said that like, if we play like that in the first 20 minutes against Munster, we've had it.
Yeah.
So just don't play like that. Stop it.
You've got to be at the races to beat them. Just the way that Munster is playing right now. They're looking like the best team in the league. That's simple as.
It's not going to be easy. Over to South Africa. Bulls versus Benetton. Now, this could benefit. I know Edinburgh's ahead of Benetton on the table as we speak. But again, there's not much in it. One slip up could cost massively. So, and it ain't easy in Loftus.
Yeah.
Especially as if people pay attention.
I hate the Bulls, but they're not losing this game. Benetton did well to beat the Sharks, and it's a Sharks team that is finding their feet, but it's not a Sharks team close to the Bulls team. Like the Bulls team's downfall is probably their bench, but I'm guessing their bench got a proper wake-up call this weekend from Glasgow. And look at what they did to Glasgow, who's still at the top of the log when it was full strength against full strength. I'm thinking the Bulls run away with this one a bit. Remember, altitude as well.
Yeah, of course.
So Bulls to get a pretty smashing victory. I'm going 18 points, thinking they smash them.
0.1. I'll say 13. I know it's not much of a difference, but it takes a trial.
Yeah, of course.
Little Welsh derby, Ospreys versus the Dragons.
I do have Benetton to get a bonus point though. They'll score 4 tries somehow.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. I can see that happening.
Probably get 2 at the end against the bench.
Which is off the bench, yeah. Ospreys Dragons again. No disrespect. It's more of it feels like a dead rubber game at this point. I don't think Ospreys can catch the playoffs now because of that defeat to Leinster. I could be wrong saying that though.
They're 11th on 40 points, 2 games left. The max they can get is to 50 points. So if Benetton gets 2 points this game, they can't do it anymore. Yeah.
I'll still say Ospreys for the win, but
not as easily if you see how the Dragons played. The Dragons will take a lot of confidence from their game. I'm going with the 5-6 points.
Yeah,
Ospreys.
That's a fair scoreline. It's tricky because, like you said when on your podcast, that like you can't write off like Connacht because of the Irish Derby. You can't write off the Dragons, especially they will have some confidence from the Stormers match. But
they should have won that game. That's.
I'll still say the Ospreys just to play it safe, but it wouldn't surprise me if the Dragons got a win.
No, not at all. It is a derby, so you never know.
The Lions in altitude in Joburg hosting league leaders Glasgow Warriors.
Saucy, very saucy.
I can see Glasgow winning this one. Now that they know that they can handle
Yeah,
the
most
altitude.
likely they'll win it, but I'm not going to back them to win it. The Lions is that one team in South Africa that like
Everyone
they're not
likes.
they no one's first team necessarily. Obviously,
Yeah.
they've got a ton of supporters, but everyone loves the Lions. Like I despise the Bulls. The Bulls despise the Stormers, but
Yeah.
we all collectively like the Lions.
Like the Lions, yeah.
Um, and it would be a massive achievement for them to go from where they were in the table to actually finish in a playoff position. So we want that fairy tale storyline. Um, yeah, Glasgow came back against the Bulls. They didn't look good before that. So I'm going with a tight victory, 3 points to the Lions
That's
at the
that's
end.
that's fair enough. Oh, like a last minute kick from
No. Just like
no.
that. I think they'll be in survival mode at the end, and
All right. Okay.
Glasgow could knock the ball.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. It's not the craziest prediction, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, like Cardiff doesn't lose by much. I know Cardiff doesn't win a lot of games, but they
Mhm.
never lose by much. The Lions slaughtered them this weekend.
Yeah, that's fair. Did I even ask you about the next one for Connacht versus the Stormers?
Bro,
Genuinely?
I obviously know what I'm going to say.
I know you're going to say Stormers because back your team as always. That's
The
the rule.
way that we played scares me.
Just
Like
scares you.
I just hope that we say, listen, we look at those last 15 minutes while we actually run the ball. Like if you look at the Stormers team, you think,
Mhm.
why aren't they running the ball?
Just run it, yeah.
It's
Exactly.
literally all that we have to do is run the ball and you can cause absolute chaos. So I'm
Hmm.
gonna go with the Stormers win, not by much,
Not
like
by much.
8 points or something like that. Uh Connacht will make it dirty. And I'm not looking forward to Bundiaki running onto some of our boys that just like slips off tackles. Because the Stormers are renowned for conceding soft tries, and that
Yeah.
annoys the piss out of me.
Mm, I'm going to say the Stormers, but again, I don't think it's going to be a pretty victory.
Yeah.
But
I'll take it.
at this time of the season, who needs a pretty victory? You just need a victory. Who cares?
Yeah. I'm like I just wish I knew what we still have to do to qualify. I just want to have it like done and dusted.
That's very true. That's fair. Sharks versus Cardiff in the Shark Tank. Sharks.
Yeah.
Surely Sharks. I don't know anymore.
Yeah, I think this weekend was just a hiccup against a fired up, excuse me, a fired up Benetton team. They won't
Yeah.
slip up twice in a row. They still looked good in patches. Fussy was still there. Cork was still on fire. So, yeah, I'm going with the Sharks to win this game by
Yeah,
like 10 points. But yeah, they won't slip up twice in a row. Not in my opinion.
that's fair. Yeah, I agree. I can't see them slipping up twice, especially to a team. And again, no disrespect. Cardiff have nothing to play for at
Yeah,
all.
yeah,
So surely, I mean, obviously there is the pride aspect, but I don't think that's enough to beat the Sharks.
no,
And finally, a little Irish derby: Ulster versus Leinster. Say it with me, Leinster's going to get a big win because
yeah, pretty comfortable. Probably the same scoreline as Munster put on Ulster. Ach, on Connacht.
like a 47-12. Mm,
Yeah, I
mm.
think they spanked them.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm so lost with Ulster. Like a few years ago, you'd be like, "Shit, this could be a proper battle." Not now.
And it's always like depends on what team Leinster put out there. I'm just saying if they play this team that they played this weekend again, they'll
Absolutely.
get a comfortable victory.
Yeah.
Don't throw out your team that you put out in South Africa.
You don't take that team. That team, no, that team doesn't work. Don't do that. But
Yeah.
we move on to the Premiership because it's still heating up there. It's
Yeah.
getting nasty, and I love it. Sale Sharks getting a big win over Leicester Tigers on Friday night, 31-22. Mm, Sharks at home are just it's so hard to win at the AJ Bell.
Yeah. And like obviously I didn't watch the game necessarily, but I heard Sale played very well until
Yeah,
Tigers showed some grit at the end.
yeah,
to come back a bit.
Mhm.
But that's a massive win for Sale. They don't score a bunch of tries. Like I look at the bonus points and stuff, they don't have
Yeah,
plenty of those. But for them to get the 5 points now
went for
they've
it.
got to do the impossible and beat Saracens, obviously, at their home. But Sale have given themselves a fighting chance, which is all you
Okay.
can really, really ask for. Because Tigers don't make it easy. Like, even though they're not up high, not an easy team to beat necessarily.
Never an easy team to beat, but Sale were on top form. George Ford, Manu Tuilagi just absolutely running boys over. Was unreal. Tom O'Flaherty getting a nice, very nice finish. Yeah, just well done, Sale.
Tuilagi's playing his last couple of games now, right?
Yeah,
That surely is some
he's just
fuel
going
that
for
he's
it.
got in the tank there to actually perform. So
Yeah, he's just
they've moved up to
absolutely going
fourth,
for it.
which is massive. So they're
Yep,
in the playoffs,
they are.
but it's playing Saracens, who are also in the playoffs. So
Well, we'll get into it in a bit detail, but Saracens and Saints already confirmed for the semi-finals.
mm,
Saints, I'll get into that in a minute, but have the home semi-finals. Saracens will be in the semi-final, but it's not guaranteed yet if it's home or away. So there you
mm.
go. But sticking with the Friday night, Newcastle, another defeat. Bath getting a comfy win, getting the bonus point, what they needed. The return of the Maverick. Finn Russell's back earlier than we actually expected. Didn't think we'd see him till the semi-final at least because of the groin injury, but just controlling the tempo nicely. Just Finn
Would
Russell
would you would you rate him as the best 10 in the world?
yeah.
I think he's the most overrated 10 in the world.
Oh, come on,
Not in a
man.
disrespectful way, but if people say you're the best in the world and you're not the best in the world, then you're overrated.
it's it's tricky because we joked about this ages ago. I think it was when that tweet came out that Duhan van der Merwe was the best winger on the planet. Being full biased, pardon the pun, because of the channel we're on, but I like steered into this. Yeah, he is. Why not? Let's have that name on our like have that title on our shoulders. Just build up, be that, turn arrogant a
I
little.
mean, for you it's pride. So if I
Yeah,
was Scottish, I would also say he's the best 10 in the world because it's a bit of bias. But like from an outside perspective, like
yeah, I get
nah,
that.
not for me, bro.
I just I don't like the question of who's the best in the world because my answer changes at least 6 times a year.
Yeah. The
And
thing is, like
really,
he can do absolute magic. Like I'm not disputing that, but its consistency isn't up there for me. That's kind of what
so
knocks it. And his
this is
defense is not solid enough. Like I look
this
at
is the thing.
what Finn Russell does,
Yeah.
and I know his kicking is better than Marnie Lebox. And I'm not saying Marnie's better than him, right? Don't get me
Uh-huh.
wrong. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying Marnie's better than Finn Russell. But I'm looking at the two and I'm like, what can Finn do that Marnie can't in terms of running the play? Because Marnie is brilliant at running the play.
Yes.
Both of them with shaky defense, and Finn Russell's better at kicking, right?
Mhm.
But
I,
neither of them have the composure that's needed in winning the big games.
I think the way so you're on about Finn's consistency is the big thing that knocks him. I wouldn't say it's a debate. I think it's more I just get a bit annoyed with it for no reason. Is I think it's because of how Finn Russell plays. Like if he's having a bad game because of the way he plays, everyone that's watching rugby, he's not playing well today. Whereas like when Johnny Sexton would have an off game, you'd have to look at like proper, like minute details of is he actually playing bad? And then you'd look into oh yeah, he was. And it's just down to style of play that because Finn's a bit more frantic, a bit more willing to take the risks, if it doesn't pay off, everyone's in on his back that he's playing shit or
Mm.
he's in just blah blah blah. But I'm like, but is he? Because or is it just because of how he plays? If he was a slower, like more methodical 10, you would never know. And
Yeah.
that's
I'm just thinking, like, if I had to think of the best team in the world, Richie Mo'unga, consistent,
fair. That's a fair bet.
fast pace, kicks
Mhm.
well, runs well, passes well, reads the game, tackles exceptionally. That's just kind of because if you want to be the best in the world, you have to be ranked or
To be fair though, Finn's tackling got up like really well this year. especially for Bam.
Don't get me
So
wrong. Like, overrated sounds like it's a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. I still think he's brilliant.
it's a tricky one because, like, you were on about pride earlier, how I said, like, what carry that title,
Yeah,
go
of
for it.
course.
I think in the last 3 years, I've had one of our players with best in the world on them. So I had Darcy Graham, 2022. I had Darcy Graham as best winger on the planet because his stats were, like, for both club and country, were ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then I moved to Duhan because Duhan
Yeah.
thing, it's unreal. But Finn always seems to just slip right back into it. Even when I'm like, he's not the best, like Richie Mo'unga, Andre Pollard, our best in the world. Then you watch a Finn Russell game, like, no, you're the best. It's
Yeah,
one of those.
I'll put Finn Russell above Andre Pollard. I don't think Andre is too great anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just because obviously with all the injuries and stuff, you're not the same player as you always were. I still think big games, you don't choose someone else rather than Andre Pollard. He just brings a calmness. He knows how to get it done, and he does it. But if you just want to play some rugby, yeah, Andre Pollard's not your guy. But that's just my opinion. Anyway, we strolled off it completely.
No,
Bath,
yeah,
Russell.
sorry for that little diversion there, but Bath getting what they needed still in the hunt for the semi-finals because they don't have playoffs in the Prem. They skip the quarterfinals and go straight to the semis, which is fine. It works itself out in the calendar anyway. On to the Saturday. I can't believe this happened in Premiership rugby and professional rugby. Northampton Saints, league leaders, they have been absolutely tearing it up this season. I'm so happy to watch them play. So, breath of fresh air. 90, you did not mishear me there. 9-0, 10 short of 100. Nil against Gloucester.
Golden
90
Duck. Yeah.
to nil. Holy shit. Ollie Slightholme on a hat trick. Me and Andy have been speaking about this a few times. Get him in that England team. He is absolutely cooking. He is flying. He's having the time of his life. These Saints lads are going to be the backbone for England going forward.
How much of a rotational team did Gloucester put out?
Heavy. I will admit that it was not their strongest team, but even still,
Yeah,
to go
because
0 is
the
shocking.
Bulls put out a D team. Like, you
England.
didn't even against Saints in the Champions Cup, and people were like, disgraceful, right?
Disgraceful.
They
Yep.
they didn't lose by that. They were in the game after the first of the Bulls with their D team.
Yep.
Gloucester does the exact same thing
With a
in
B team.
the Premiership. I've not heard a single thing of that is disgraceful to
Oh,
rugby. An
there's
embarrassment to
actually
rugby.
been a few of that.
How is that good for rugby? 90-0.
Even
That's horrific.
even Northampton fans were like, it got boring. You could hear it if you go and watch. Even if anyone's watching or listening to us, go and listen to the highlights. See after it gets past a certain scoreboard, it just becomes like, way, like, yeah, we scored. It stopped being fun for the home crowd, which tells you that you want the close encounters.
I just want to know what that does to the confidence of the Gloucester boys. Like, they were, as you just said, a young team. Oh, like, I know you understand that you're young,
Yeah,
but you don't get 90 put on you.
no,
Like, not as the future of the club.
can't even justify it because I'd understand if this was like an academy team, like no one available. Bring out the academy boys. Yeah, cool. You're going to get absolutely gubbed. These lads are in that setup every week with the first team. Their head coach is George Skivington. So it's the same tactics, it's the same coaching. The players are all in the same camp together.
Yeah, fully agree. It's embarrassing.
Don't get me wrong, Saints played beautiful rugby across the board. It was very nice from that point of view. Great, fantastic. Like I said, Saints players are going to be the backbone for English rugby going forward. Curtis Langdon, I know he's retired. I'd like to see him get back in that team somehow. But Alex Moon, Alex Coles, Alex Mitchell, they have a lot of Alexes down in Northampton. Jesus. Fraser Dingwall, Ollie Slightholme, George Furbank, they're all going to be in that England team for years to come. And they've got that gel. They're well connected now. Finn Smith. I didn't even mention Finn Smith there, but
The
You get
big
what I
thing
mean?
for me is, right, like that boosted their points difference by a ton. And if
Man,
this was a URC game where the final is not on a neutral ground and the top team gets the final, right, that would
yeah,
have been massive because they just got a plus 90 points difference, which puts them above Saracens.
yeah.
No, it, they
They're
still
all good.
below Saracens. They still below Saracens on points difference, but all of a sudden it's a lot closer. If this wasn't a neutral game final and Saracens would have not gotten that final just because of that, it would have
Yeah.
been disgraceful. That would
There'd
have
be a
been a
man.
piss take. Anyway, we can move on, but that is
It's fine,
embarrassing.
you actually fitted quite nicely because the next game is Saracens. So there you go.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
why? I hate myself. I always end up back in Bristol, and every time I do it, they just let me down. This was a must-win game for Bristol, and Saracens just rocked up and cooked them.
Yeah, yeah.
Shagan on the wing, he was unreal. He is electric. Owen Farrell, love him or hate him, he's a fantastic 10.
This is what we spoke about. They have the rugby heritage and the knowledge how to get it done when it matters. And you mentioned in the previous pod, Bristol, they're looking like a fun team. They've been on insane form, and respect to them because that was a great shout. You know, that is the
They
fact
were
of the
kicking.
matter. But when it comes to teams that know how to do it, win
Saracens
when
are,
it matters, that is as clinical as it gets. That's what Saracens just did there.
there's like 4, 5 teams in the world that have this mentality of win when it matters. Saracens, maybe not this season, but Crusaders, historically, Crusaders have that. I would argue
Monster.
Leinster, maybe one of the South African franchises.
Yeah,
Historically,
Munster,
Munster
Munster.
have that. Yeah, 5. There you go.
Yeah,
Saracens, Crusaders, Leinster, Bulls, just because that's the jersey I've got behind me, so why not? And Munster are the 5 teams that have that. We know what we're doing here. You could have argued Leicester Tigers as well, but they've slipped off massively this season as well. So
yeah. But overall, you can probably put them in there.
Saracens get a big win, despite discipline issues. Maro Toji getting another yellow card this season. I don't know what is going on with him this season. Just behave yourself.
Yeah.
Simple.
At the start of the season, we said he looked like prime Maritoja again.
Yeah. But now after Christmas, he just became a little bad boy.
Yeah, yeah,
Final game though for week 17. I'm buzzing. I'm so happy for this because Liquid Rugby at Sandy Park, and it was let loose. Exeter Chiefs 58 points to 26 over Quins. Happy days. We are in contention of a playoff. Emmanuel Feo is a generational talent.
yeah.
He
He's
is a
cooking.
freak of nature. If he does not outrun you, he will just run through you. It was great. Greg Fieselau, another potential bowler for this England team. Great number 8. Lots of talent. Years left on his career. David Jenkins, well, we all know how good he is. 21 years old and he's the captain of Wales. On the scoreboard, great. Harvey Skinner, R10, who has been slated all season, had a player of the match performance. And then obviously the
Yeah,
clutch moment of the season, Henry Slade just controlling things left, right, and centre. It's great to see. I'm so happy.
yeah. I didn't watch the game. I called Harlequins to win this game. If Harlequins won this game, I got a clean sweep for URC and Premiership, which would have been massive for someone that doesn't even watch the Premiership. That would have been
Yeah.
that would have been an achievement. But I called the
Well,
Harlequins to win just because they played in the Champions Cup. They would have probably been fired up a bit. And then I was told, listen, it's tough to beat Exeter at home.
yeah,
And
but
the
it's not
game
easy.
was close. Harlequins were in the lead for large parts, I think the whole first half or
Yeah,
something.
what?
And
It's
then
been 21 all at
Exeter
half
just,
time.
yeah, and then Exeter just blew them out of the water. It felt like
Okay.
Exeter pulled a Toulouse on Exeter in that second half.
Yeah, ironically, yeah, it seemed to work
Yeah,
for us. But yeah,
yeah,
I mean, I think I'm happy to do this because Exeter lost a lot of players, like almost a starting 15 worth of players.
mm,
Lots of young lads came through the academies from Cornish Pirates, from the universities. the bar was not very high for Chiefs this year because we're like, well, it's practically a brand new team, apart from like one or two senior players.
Mm.
For the most part, it's a lot of young lads. It's going to be essentially the core for the next wave of success. But hey, first season under this new group, Champions Cup quarter-final, and it's still in contention of a Premiership semi-final. We are cruising. I'm happy for it.
Things to look forward to.
Absolutely. Onwards and upwards. Final week of Premiership is next week, or this weekend coming, sorry. So let's predict it. You've already mentioned one game, Saracens versus Sale. We've just spoke about how when it matters most, there's only so many teams that can do it in the world, and Saracens is one of them. I am actually going to break my rule this time because I never back Saracens, but I can't look past them.
I'm only backing Sale just because I've got some loyalties to Sale. But I do think I think Saracens is going to win the game, but I'm going to back Sale to do it just because I like them more. And they have a lot of South Africans.
If we're doing it on whiteness, I'd rather Sale win it.
Yeah, but I like the storyline of Sale getting the victory and going into the playoffs after that rocky start of the season. And obviously, I told you, I've got some loyalties to them. So
Yeah,
I'm going with Sale.
He has to watch what he's saying when it comes to Sale.
Yeah.
Quins versus Bristol kicks off they all kick off at the same time. So you have to pick your game very wisely this coming weekend because they all kick off on the 18th of May at 3:05.
Ooh, and Bristol and Harlequins are both still in the run, right?
Yep, still in the running. So as of recording, you have Saints cruising on 60 points at the top of the table, Saracens second on 56, Bath in third with 55, Sale Sharks in fourth with 52, Exeter and Quins are joint on points, but higher points difference for Chiefs. So Chiefs are fifth with 50 points, Quins in sixth with 50 points, and Bears in seventh with 49 points. And one of them teams will drop points. It's going to have to happen. Somebody's going to have to lose. Who is it? Who's going to lose?
Okay, so I went for the away victory with Sale. I'm thinking Harlequins get it done against Bristol.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm done backing the Bears as well because it never works. So Harlequins, do your worst. Go for it. Go nuts at the stoop. Have fun with it.
Yeah, I agree.
Not too much fun though, because I don't want you to leapfrog the Chiefs.
But Harlequins is sitting without Andre Israel now, right?
No, I think I still have him for the time being.
I thought he's injured.
No, he played against.
I'm not sure. Whatever, but I've still got Harlequins to win.
He might be actually. It's fine. They've got Luke Northmore, who's a great talent as well.
Yeah.
Leicester Tigers versus Exeter Chiefs.
Exeter.
Yeah. Yes, Devon. Yes. Happy days. Back your team as always for me. Exeter Chiefs for the win. We need it. Get a big win.
Yep.
Get a semi-final. And Tigers are hurting. Tigers are not at their best. So it's not an easy game. It's definitely not. Tigers at Welford Road. It's historical. They've got the players that can do damage. But if you're going to do it this season.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bit of a dead rubber game, but we get them sometimes. Gloucester hosting Newcastle.
Gloucester is going to spank Newcastle. I think they put out their strongest team and probably try and redeem themselves a bit, get some dignity back. So I'm going Gloucester will win this game by about 40-50.
I'm going for the upset. I think they're going to save the first team players because the following week is the Challenge Cup final. And I think Newcastle literally have nothing to lose. They've not won a game all season. Why not? Let's go for it. They've been getting closer. The gap's been tightening. So I'm going
Maybe
to
Gloucester put out the same team and hope for a better result and say, listen, that was just a one-off. Probably.
Yeah. I want to see I don't want to see a team go all season without a win. I feel that's just shit all round. So yeah, Newcastle for the win.
When does the playoff starts for this one?
So so this weekend is the final week of the Premiership. Next weekend is the Champions and Challenge Cup final. Then, so the start of June, 8th of June, I think. I believe if I've got those dates right.
Could be. Could be. I'm not too sure.
And final game for the Premiership this season, for the regular season anyway. It's an absolute banger at the Recreation Ground. Bath versus Northampton Saints. Now, I've already said Northampton have secured top spot. They have got a home semi-final. Do they go for a weaker team? And Bath go full whack. Finn Russell, Cam Redpath, Ollie Lawrence, Will Muir, Joe Thokin-Singer, Thomas DeToit, who's on 11 tries this year. I forgot to mention that earlier.
For a prop. It's not even a hooker
player.
that gets the line out or something. It's
No.
like a driving maul try. It's just a prop.
He just picks it up from a rock 5 meters out and just toot, tank coming through.
I'm going with Saints to get the victory.
Okay.
Because if they lose, Saris could pip them. And I think there's a big jump with playing who's ever going to be in 4th position to playing Bath, who's in 3rd position.
So the way the
if Bath lose it,
if Bath lose it, they could be out of contention.
Yeah, but like if Northampton loses this game and they go into 2nd to play Bath again after they've just lost to them, that's tough, right? So they'll probably want that full strength team so that if they have to play Bath again, they'll have the confidence to beat them. You don't want to play around in the playoffs or anything. Like they've only got a couple of games left. Play a full strength team, win your games.
Yeah,
build momentum for your playoffs. You've anyway got to rest next weekend, so
yeah, exactly. I do think Bath can edge it. I think they want to finish as high as they can. They could still technically.
There's always the discussion of injuries, right? But if injuries happen, it happens. Like Bath will be fired up. They'll be physical, but it's part of the game. Play a full strength team.
I agree. I expect fireworks regardless, but
yeah.
So what game would you choose to watch? Because they're all kicking off at the same time. I know what I'm picking because I've got
Saracen Sale. It's got the most. It's got the most jeopardy in it. Or Harlequins Bristol. Those two.
Harlequins Bristol has a lot at stake, but I'm going to have to multi-screen it, I think, because I need to watch my Chiefs try and get to the semi-final. So we've done the URC, we've done the Prem. Let's quickly jump over to the Super Rugby because this competition just hurts my head. Everything goes out the window. So I'm just going to rattle through the scores and we're just going to pick a few of the highlights. So Chiefs get the business done over Moana Pacifica, 43.7. We knew that was going to happen. Reds narrowly buggered it against the Melbourne Rebels, 26-22, but getting a win.
Yeah. I told you about these Australian games. When it comes to a derby there,
absolutely,
for some reason, you do not know who to call.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't expect that to happen, but no, I did say Reds, but I didn't think it'd be that close.
Yeah.
We've got new league leaders because the Bulls beat the Hurricanes 31-27. Oh, what a game it was. It was just fun to watch.
Did you watch the full game from home?
No, I had to watch the highlights.
Yeah, like that first 20 minutes, non-stop. Ridiculous rugby. Because I know it was early hours for you, so I was just wondering, did you see it live?
No, I kind of the time I get to watch full Super Rugby games is a Friday because it's like I get to watch the first half. So Chiefs versus Moana Pacifica, I watched the whole first half, took my oldest to school, and I was back in time for the second half. And then there was Reds Rebels straight after that. So
yeah,
Friday,
that first 20 minutes of Bulls Hurricanes was a lot of mistakes happening. It was just brilliant rugby. It just felt glorious to watch. And it deserves to go till the death. I thought Hurricanes has got it. What a rip at the end. That's how you win the game. Elite defensive work, 5 meters out. You don't know. Penalty after penalty after penalty. Showing the grit. Still got it done. Well done to the Blues.
Absolutely. I'm still saying
Auckland was pumping probably that night.
I still want to see Clark Laidlaw as Scotland head coach, though. He's doing a grand job at Hurricanes.
Yeah. That before that game took nothing away from the Hurricanes. That was just two teams playing world-class rugby.
100%. That's what you want. That's all you want. That's a good advert for the game.
Yeah.
And for those that were saying that like rugby's dying, it's not. There was over 25,000 of that game. It's not dying.
Yeah.
You're fine. Highlanders 32-29 over the abysmal Crusaders. Now, just want to put this in perspective. In the whole span of his time as Crusaders head coach, Scott Robertson lost 16 games. In his whole time as Crusaders head coach,
7 years.
Scott Penny's lost 9 this season.
Yeah.
Absolute farce.
It's an utter joke.
It's
Like they didn't even deserve to have 29 because they
No.
scored a try at the end that shouldn't have been a try. Like, did you see that try that they scored? They got carried over the line. The ref calls release, tackle, release. Just falls over the line and they couldn't stop it. Like, how do you stop that? Like,
No.
the ref just told you to release. So
Just
they scored a try like that. A pity try. Islanders, I thought the Crusaders had this one. Like, surely the Crusaders can't let themselves lose to the Islanders, and they actually did.
I was right though.
This team is the team that beat the Chiefs.
You all thought I was crazy last week, but I did it. Thought I was fucking terrible. Now the Cam Roygaard is now injured. I know TJ Bernard is still in the mix and he's carving up like the TJ of old, but get Fala Fakatava in that mix as well. He's great.
Yeah, he's playing some proper rugby.
But big old derby in Australia again. It was a close one, like you said it would be. Brumby's getting the win over the Waratahs 29-21. But
Yeah.
we all kind of thought Brumbies
expected this one a bit more. Brumbies, they've always been the Aussie team that's like been a bit better than the rest. Expected them to win a bit further than this one, but job done. They'll take it and run.
Absolutely. Final game for round 12 of Super Rugby. I did not expect this. Western Force 48 and the Fijian Drua got 10.
Yeah. Fijian Drua, unstoppable at home. Can't buy a victory away from home. That's basically how you sum them up.
But you'd expect a closer encounter, sure, but just not to be. Wasn't even close. Wasn't even near close, apart from kickoff. But
the Force now has got a couple of big victories, right? Like they don't win by small margins. The games that they win big. That's why their points difference isn't like -300 because they lose big and they win big. They smashed the Reds, they smashed Fijian Drua, but lost to, like, for instance, Mana Pacifica. I think they got thrashed by the Crusaders, or did they thrash the Crusaders?
No, they beat the Crusaders this year. Force beat Crusaders.
Yeah, exactly. So they get massive victories and then also lose by large amounts. Doesn't make sense, but yeah.
But before we jump into the news, we'll quickly predict week 13. There's only 3 more rounds to go in Super Rugby as well, so before knockouts. We've got Friday morning. Let's say Friday morning because I'm in the UK. Divan's in South Africa, so it's Friday morning to us. Hurricanes versus Moana Pacifica. Hurricanes getting a big comfy win down in Wellington, I predict. I don't think it'll be close.
Yeah, pretty comfortable. Very easy, actually, yeah.
Over to Australia, though. Rebels hosting the Chiefs. Rebels are touch and go at home, but I still think Chiefs are just too strong.
Yeah, the way that the Rebels play, I think the Chiefs pummel them. I think they really, like, the amount of gaps and points that the Rebels concede, that's perfect for the Chiefs. They just want to run the ball. So Chiefs very comfortably, in my opinion.
Kind of gives away the next game with the location, but we go over to Fiji on Saturday morning because the Fijian Drua are hosting the Reds, and Drua are going back to winning ways because it's in Fiji.
Yeah, they'll get smashed away from home, win the game at home. Yeah. I'm going Drua as well.
Next game. Now, if you gave me this for the last 10 years, I'd be licking my lips because it's going to be a close encounter. Brumbies versus the Crusaders.
The Crusaders have been better against the better teams for some reason. I don't know if you realized, but they will not win this game. They will not win this game.
No.
Brumbies.
Brumbies getting a big win down in Canberra. It is a fortress down there this season.
Yeah.
Blues versus Highlanders in Auckland. The Blues are getting a big win.
Yeah. Smashing them. Smashing them.
Smashing. This next one's actually quite tricky to predict based off recent form. Western
Yeah.
Force hosting the Waratahs.
I would not be surprised if the Waratahs whack the Force. But the Force are at home. I'm
Oh,
predicting a close victory, even though the Force, I just said they only get blowout victories. I'm finally predicting them to get a close
they're
victory
actually cousin.
against the
No, I
Waratahs.
want. I'm going for it. I want to see another blowout victory for the Force. Why not?
No, fair enough, fair play.
Just fully back friend of the show, Nick White, because that's the only player we know for Western Force, and
So,
that's it.
it's a
That,
twat.
we love Nick White. He's a lovely guy. Maybe not to you for the
Yeah, exactly.
maybe not for that, but yeah, that's been the rugby. We've crossed the URC, we've crossed the Prem, crossed Super Rugby. Any rugby news? There's one big headline that came out this afternoon over here for us. Sam Cane, former All Blacks captain, is calling it quits on the international level at the end of this year.
Yep. Big
Hmm.
move, correct move, in my
Yeah.
opinion. He's
Ten-year
at the
deal.
end. There's a lot of youngsters that can come through in his
Yeah.
spot. He's been vital. He's been a great advocate for the sport, and I don't have an issue with guys that's at the end of their race going and securing financial security for them and their family. He's
Get that.
like
Get
obviously
that.
athletes still retire young. They still have a young family. They can set up their families for lives for
100%.
literally 2 or 3 years of playing there. You still got 3 years of Japanese rugby in him.
Yeah.
Fair play.
Big yeah. He doesn't have to blow his body out and still make
Yeah.
bank. Yeah, he's all good for it. But yeah, he will end his. I imagine he's going to end his career in the Century Club. He's on 95, 96 caps now. So
Yeah.
one good rugby championship and sorted. But I'm going to leave it with you on this one. Who's going to be the captain for the All Blacks? Because we've already been told. Hmm?
Adi Savea.
Aris Avea? Okay. Okay.
Probably. Yeah. Unless they go with, I wouldn't be surprised if they go with no, not Adi Savea. Scott Barrett.
Scott Barrett's a good choice. It's
Yeah.
not the. It's neither of the ones I've picked. I went for
Okay.
Dalton. I went Dalton Papali'i. I'd like to see Dalton take the captaincy and run with it.
Does he even start?
On form, yeah,
Probably. Maybe.
and have Sam Ken on the bench because then you've got the experience coming off the bench.
It's tough with their Lucies get rotated so much.
No, the
Right,
All
because
Blacks.
look at the talent there with the likes of a Tutu. Look at the Hurricanes, Lucy's. I can't even think about who it is now, but they've been on absolute fire. Populi, obviously, he's been scintillating. I think the only fixed position they have is Scott Barrett, and he can be the captain.
Yeah. Who goes in the five? Do you call up Fabian Holland from the Highlanders? Do you use?
Well, Scott Barrett plays five, right?
No, Scott Barrett's four, is he not?
Well, it was Brady Retallick that played four, right? And then obviously he's retired now, so
To be fair, this might sound controversial. I've always said this: 4 and 5 make zero difference to me. It's the same position.
yeah, so they'll need a new lock to partner him. Obviously, you can't forget about the likes of a Shannon Frizzell, even when it comes to the Lucy. So they'll probably have Tupu Vai, maybe Tupu Vai and Scott
Either's
Barrett.
probably from the Chiefs. But
Yeah,
then
so they could have Tupu Vai and Scott Barrett as their locks, and then move in with Adi Savea, Dalton Papali'i, and a Shannon Frizzell, maybe
or do you go
Sututu,
so,
and move
then
Adi Savea to the six.
or do you move Satutu to the six?
Yeah, either way.
It doesn't matter. You put any number on RD's back, it's going to work. Doesn't
Yeah.
make a difference. 10. Who goes at 10? Does it straight back to Richie Mwanga or does Damien McKenzie get it?
Well, it depends if they break
The
if they
rule.
break that thing. Yeah, their rule. because otherwise it's probably going to be D-Mac. But I heard Bowden Barrett's fired up to take that 10 jersey again.
Is he in
So
Japan? Is he in Japan?
currently, yeah, he's in Japan currently.
Okay, that explains a lot because I've been looking at obviously the Blues lines up. I know Riku Iwani's getting like rested for the most part, but I kept like, where's Bowden Barrett? And then I was like, is he in Japan? Is he injured? I couldn't remember, but no, he's in Japan.
Yeah. And obviously their wings is going to be so hard to choose. Caleb Clark's playing some of his best rugby. Obviously, Moxalea, in my opinion, is the best wing in the world. But then you look at Sevu Reece in a bad Crusaders team. He's playing sensational rugby. So,
but there's also Aroni for the Chiefs.
Yeah.
He's carved. Oh, the depth that All Blacks have.
And then obviously the guy that's always there, Sean Stevenson. I know he plays fullback, but obviously
he
can slot into the wing as well. So yeah.
Oh, it's ridiculous. It's so stupid. The depth that the Springboks and the All Blacks have, go away.
That's what happens when you're the best in the world, though.
Yeah. We don't have the best 10 in the world, as we established earlier.
Yeah, because the All Blacks have.
Go away.
Okay, wrap it up.
Yeah, that's it. That's us. URC's done. Prem's done. Super Rugby's done. Same again next week because it's tight. Prem regular season rounds off next week. Got one more final round after the Challenge and Champions Cup for the URC, but still, anything can happen. Super Rugby is nearly closing its doors before the playoffs. Yeah, it's the best time to be a rugby fan. Divan, thank you again for joining me and letting me be on your channel.
Yeah, of course. Always a pleasure.
So
we see each other maybe next week, maybe the week after, maybe the month after. We'll see each other again.
Never say never, but go and give Casual Bias Rugby a follow on YouTube. Hit the notification bell for basically all the content because there's a lot of us.
Yeah.
The more you know. If you really like the podcast, go and give Rugby Connection Podcast a subscribe, hit the notification bell because there's also great interviews there. We interviewed Victor Matfield, we've interviewed Ellie Kildon, some of the best players on the planet, some of the most nostalgic names on the planet. Go and watch, it's great. I try my best, honestly, I do mean that. Also give Divan a follow on TikTok, he is Casual Bias Rugby on that. If you like what I do, give me a follow at BlissfulRugby HQ, YouTube, Spotify, Instagram. Tick all those boxes. And until next week, enjoy your week. See you later.